Ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
I'm Angru, hello, hello, hello.
And folks, coming to you today on Slutsk West, we want to bring you some more SD2 vanilla action, but we want to go and highlight this beautiful player in blue. What's going on over here in blue, sir?
On left-hand side in blue, we have Tosdi playing as the new, I can't even say it, but I just call it Toulon for Maverick income. And the right-hand side in the red, we have Rare is PAH2 Tiger in the first French. Very long name, just to call him PAH2. He is playing 3rd US Armored with also a Maverick income.
So it looks like we have a 50s Jeep opening here, so this could be kind of deadly, just already getting action right off the bat. What the heck should we expect from Toulon? So, I mean, just a quick overview. We are going to see that this is a defensive group of Toulon, historically speaking. I like them with Gross Paris, but you said slightly differently. How's that?
You got a whole heap of varying quality of troops, from elite to pretty pants. Not a lot of armor, decent support, and yeah, they're a pretty fun division. Definitely another hodgepodge division, which works pretty well. But I really want to note just how goddamn effective PAH2 is doing so far. And just this early aggression. I mean, up north, he's just broke through with armored LMG rifles in classic American style, just charging enemy line with machine gun fire, pinning them down, and just outflanking and outmaneuvering them.
I do want to call in the meantime, though, down to the south, Tosdi. I mean, despite the fact that he's got an incredible breakthrough, Tosdi is still the one with all the flags, and in 11 seconds, that float plane artillery observer is going to drop unholy hell down on these American troops, I think.
Yeah, but that's going to be a pretty damn good target of how bunched up all those Yanks are. There, I've seen some of the new infantry, the Crease Marine infantry, armed with World War I machine guns. I mean, yeah, it's very varying quality in troops. And then, of course, you've got the Brandenburgers, which are some of the more elite German infantry you can get.
Well, and on top of that, too, we have ourselves some Scharfschützen, which is not something you tend to see very often in a lot of these German divisions. And then we also have this lovely little French tanks, so that's kind of adorable up top.
Yeah.
Looking elsewhere here, so just trying to kind of match things up overall. Looking over on the American side, artillery, I kind of have to give it to the Americans here. I mean, we have the off maps for sure, but like, I don't know, I think I have a special place in my heart, I think, for some of those long toms.
Yeah, it's a lot of long toms. You're seeing a bit more heavy artillery compared to before in vanilla 1v1s, which is a bit interesting. We'd have to see how it works. We've already seen one being deployed up north here. And, I mean, American artillery is pretty damn good, not just the artillery guns themselves, but because a lot of your reconnaissance troops do have radios, so it's very easy to get at direct-to-chop bonus. And how the hell did that sharpshooter get all the way behind American lines, yeah, Khan?
I'm not even paying attention. Oh, this guy? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and there's another guy running. He's a run-man sniper squad, so really the pure sense of a sniper squad.
I think he's played as Sniper Elite. I think that's what he's done. He's just like training, and he was like, I have tried to kill Hitler 30 times. It broke my mental state to do it, but I did it. So now he's taking his show on the road. Yeah,
he's going to start shooting the fuel tanks of the tank to blow them up.
Don't joke, that's going to happen at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Crease Marine down to the south are going to try to engage the armored rifles. Probably going to go about as well as you expect. Like you said, these guys are about the only thing they really have is just HP.
Yeah, they're like pretty average. At least they're not disheartened, which isn't too bad. The Pioneers are actually quite a funny unit, because they do have the satchel grenade, but also a bloody Panzerschreck, which is something you don't see all that often in mainline infantry squads.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, at least not in this. You kind of see it occasionally in Red Storm, but that's a different thing altogether.
Yeah.
Just as a reminder, this is not Red Storm, folks.
Yeah.
And we also have this, oh my gosh, the Italian, I don't even know what this is. This Italian gun over here.
It's an Italian, it's called the Elephant Gun. It's like its nickname, but it's like a light Italian anti-tank / support gun.
Well, right now he's not doing a whole lot of supporting here. I mean, he's not got a great line of sight though either, so.
No. We're mainly just seeing like a lot of just pure light armored play from PAH2. I mean, we've barely saw, I don't even think, one Sherman. It's just been Scotch, M8, half tracks and Jeep 50 cals. He's playing it like he's playing second French armored.
Yeah, which is kind of a viable thing to do when you're playing with third. It's usually maybe not the most effective tack, but you can do it. It's just not perfect.
Yeah, it's actually great fun seeing it work out. Yeah, of course, it's a pretty good matchup in this sort of playstyle against Toulon, which doesn't have a whole lot of armor you have to worry about yourself, so you can run about with light vehicles. So we are starting to see a Slutsk being brought into the center, and we also have one up north here, backed up with some Panzer 39, as Tosdi is gearing up to do an attack here with his Brandenburg and Kriegsmarine troop.
That's true, and he's timed the artillery strike with the advance pretty darn well, I have to say. Most people, you call the artillery strike and they get very bored, start watching something completely different. But no, he waited for it about halfway through. These guys are going to be forced out or killed. It's going to be one or the other, really.
Yeah.
And quick pins. Yep, this is well done.
Yeah, I feel like this match is going to come down to... the infantry play is going to be pretty important, especially for PAH2, because he doesn't have a whole lot of infantry in this deck. 3rd US Armored is pretty light in that regard, even though the infantry is pretty damn effective, especially with all of the half-track. So Tosdi, if he can keep up this sort of pressure and play well up north in the forest, as well as center and down south in the town areas, he's to be in a pretty good, well-defensive position.
We are going to get our first Sherman going here to the south, I think, to kind of offset the fact that there's a French light tank down there. Oh no, never mind. Jeez, I didn't even pay attention to the fact there's a Greyhound. That Greyhound should be able to kill him 8 times over. If he could hit. And nope. That's going to be a major problem now. That's a major problem.
39 hits, it's going to be perfect, just knocking out the rest of that light armor.
Scott, in the meantime, is going to cause a little bit of issues over here along that main center line, more or less because that Pack 40 can't advance too much without being really just bombarded to death. And unfortunately, that brave Scharfschützen that was behind enemy lines is now buried behind enemy lines. I don't think anyone's going to go in to grab him anytime soon.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty hard area to try and attack just for a dead body.
Do you have to say, the M4 that's up here at the upper edge of the map, I kind of did a double take when I saw that unicard.
Oh yeah, did you think it was a Sherman just because of the name?
Well, yeah, for one, but at the same time, I was almost thinking like, wait, they don't have any dingoes here. Like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, I forgot it does actually have a 50 cal.
Yes, it's Madus.
And look, yeah. I think it's a pretty cool looking vehicle car, and it's like extremely boxy. I mean, it's something you just barely see, but,
Oh, yeah.
They do a pretty good job of just slapping a 50 cal on top of anything, including their artillery tractors.
And you know what? You kind of have to go and give a little bit of credit. It's like the Berg tractor that the Germans used to recover Panzers out in the field. They had like a 30 mil cannon on it. We see it a couple of times here in the decks here. But I don't know. I feel like, yeah, you're right. Someone took one look at this and was kind of like, we're sending it to the front lines. Oh, yes, it's a giant tractor. Yeah, put a 50 cal on it. It'll be fine.
Trucks 50 cals, tanks 50 cals, airplane, boats, ships. Just slap a 50 on it, somewhere.
Yeah, that or a 303, yeah. Surprisingly enough, the town fight has kind of very much simmered down. And I think it's rather fortunate over here for the Americans, because right now they just have a bunch of infantry, I think, waiting for the Germans to attack. And then they're going to kind of just maybe try to ride an entire capture train going the other direction. P-51 in the meantime going north, pinning down this push. Not a whole lot going on there now.
No, and BF-109 won't have the speed to catch up, unfortunately. And you're seeing this, counter push from Tosdi is working pretty well up north. He definitely has the numbers advantage, especially in the infantry, and there's not a whole lot of armor he has to worry about until that one M4 finally makes it front.
And I mean, technically the 39H can kill the Scott. Probably won't, but I mean, technically it can.
Yeah. Yeah, Scott isn't that well armored.
But that Sherman has now officially reached the front lines, and the 39H has decided it's better to maybe to retreat to the trees. Kind of hard to argue with that one.
Yeah, I try to play close quarters, of course, with those rather, that's a bit of a voice crack, rather inefficient French tank.
Well, you know, first of all, Ryan, I realize puberty is a bitch. Second of all,
I've been going through it for the past, like, decade now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna, I am, you know, years old, and sometimes it still hits me too, man. You know, it's one of those things. 39H platoon over here inside this town. This makes me kind of chuckle. At the same time, just wanted to like wrap them in blankets and be like, "Oh, honey." And we're actually going to see another new squad coming in. So Kriegsmarine Boot Besatzungen troops being sent to the front. I confess I'm still learning their unit card over here, but I'm just excited again. More fanatic troops, actually.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of infantry. I really do love like the German hodgepodge divisions, like KISS, the new 52nd Reserve Division, Korok. Some of my favorites, just because you see just a wide variety of troops. And as we're seeing in this fight here, Tosdi is making pretty damn good progress in the center. I mean, once again, the infantry advantage is purely in his hands, so he can pretty easily just mow through this town and keep it completely under his control.
Well, the part that is kind of mildly amusing too is you drop an Artie, which is going to be on his own troops. Oh no! Okay, no. So he's drawn the Americans in. Oh no! Oh no!
Oh, perfect.
That is so fortunate for one side and unfortunate for the other, and the M8s get nailed. The LMG's gonna get forced out, and this is exactly what he wanted. Oh my god, this is the perfect storm of like accidental perfection. Oh man. I couldn't have planned that any better than he just did accidentally. That was brilliant.
Holy crap. Like, what a good strike here, Khan. What a good strike.
And again, he moves his, like, how would you call it? The blue cliffs wait for the artillery to be done, and they all just kind of mulch on forwards, which is probably good, since his push here in the north has very much stagnated. Got blown apart by the Sherman, for one. But wow. And an airplane went down. I couldn't tell you what it is, though. I will tell you, he's been putting a lot of effort into these float plane artillery strikes, and I'm very pleased to see how well they've done, too.
Yeah, and it's also, keep talking about how cool units look. I really do like how that float plane looks. You don't really see float planes that often in Royal Steel Division. I believe this is actually the first run.
Oh, it's got bombs, too. I forgot about that.
Oh, wow. That's actually... That is rather unique as well, considering it is in the artillery tab. So it's an artillery recon tab that can artillery observe a recon plane in the artillery tab that can provide its own artillery support.
Like, I'm still just... I was trying to unpack that as I kind of went through it here. There is one Command Sherman who might shut down this south-central push, but it's going to be pretty unlucky or unlucky, depending on how you look at it, for him. Surprised that Stroke doesn't detour south a little bit. Yes, he does give up a little bit in terms of that overall kind of accuracy on the move, but I feel like that's the only thing that's going to keep this push successful moving forwards.
Yeah, and for part 2, really, he played pretty hard in the light armor and infantry play early on. Didn't work out. I think he really needs to rely back on the fact that he is an armor division, and he has a horde of Shermans available. And Shermans are really good tanks, especially when the enemy barely has anti-tank available to him. And as we're seeing, we do see a jumbo being brought into the field. And there's really nothing on the ground that can really penetrate the jumbo tank. So that's going to be a very tough customer that Tosdi will have to deal with. And I don't think any free coupons is going to keep it away.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty good point there. I'm trying to think... We do have the 190s over here in B-tab, but that's going to be an awful pricey fix to the situation.
Yeah. Yeah. And
But
it's still a pretty good map for tanks because it's open ground. If you just keep the jumbo where it is, it won't get flanked. You can provide long-range fire support.
True, but the one thing I think we didn't really talk about too much is that there still is a couple martyrs here. There's not many of them, to be fair.
Oh, yeah.
We have 3 martyrs. And technically, when all is said and done, the PAH-36s have a ghost of a chance, just that purely as a ghost of a chance.
Seen some American air power down south to bomb out Tosdi's forces in that southern town. Gonna be pinning down the Kriegsmarine Pioneer, not getting any kills, or he was blind bombing there, just trying to hit where he thought the infantry was, but the armored rifles will be able to come in through, get surrender, and finish off what's left, yeah.
Do you want to make a quick call out in the meantime? So as we have a moderate amount of just slower time here, so the Kriegsmarine Besatzung troops, 5 MP40s, 5 K98s, but the big prize here, 3 LMGs.
Yeah. Pretty nasty squad. Kind of reminds me of Russian penal troops.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah,
and with about
submarine is equivalent of penal duty, really.
At this point in the war, yeah.
There's no happy time.
It's kind of funny to me. The Scott and the Sherman, which should be really almost being able to be aggressive and kind of, in your face kind of troops here, not being very aggressive overall, and I guess I see why. Again, the 76-2 down here takes out the Scott with 1 shot, but yikes. I did not expect that even remotely.
Yeah. But the main thing here is that PAH does have control of that town for now. Tosdi does have a pretty good chance of counterattack. I think it does have that 76mm gun providing some fire support. And of course a horde of infantry which he can use to get back in there. It's not that much of a sprint from the forest to the town, so he does have that going for him.
A minor call out, there is a small anti-air net that's starting to form over here by PAH2 Tigers. A couple of Bofors, actually no, Bofors north, central, south. So the big thing that I think has been very, very effective in keeping Tosdi kind of moving forward and kind of churning the Americans opposite him into paste is for the moment, I think, quite delayed.
Yeah.
More 47 mils being brought into the north. Opportunistic play, I don't know, maybe just more like they were bored and wanted to let them outside for a bit, I don't know, maybe that's the case as well.
But both sides, surprisingly, are actually starting to build up a bit of an artillery presence on the map. We see 1, 2, 3, 4 long toms here from PAH2, and Tosdi bringing in some Italian 149 and 100mm artillery guns. So we're going to see a little bit of an artillery war, especially down south here of the off map.
That would seem to be the case.
Or maybe he doesn't have any more off map charges and using it for recon.
No, well, he's probably gonna go down here, I feel like. He's smoking pretty bad. This is the most worked over we've seen any of those planes, other than just being straight hit by aircraft here. Central town is heating up slightly as well. Just a couple of half tracks starting to tickle the town yet again. I feel like the central position and the northern position is where we're going to see most of our action for the time being. And like you said, though, I think both guys are just kind of taking a collective breath and saying, okay, wait a second. No takesy backsies. I got to take a quick breath, and then I'll be back to, attack you in a moment.
Yeah. So the main thing once again is, Tosdi definitely has the reserves to throw into his town fight, so if he's bleeding, a little bit in the town, that's not too bad. He can, for his counterattack. And his armored rifles in the central town are definitely a bit outnumbered.
Outnumbered, true. Rarely outfought, but certainly outnumbered. Jumbo, in the meantime, finding out there's a 105 actually out there, which I kind of forgot. It has a crazy pen.
Holy crap, that is... I can kill a jumbo con. I can reasonably kill a jumbo.
Well, he just one-shot at a P-51, and there goes a jumbo at the next shot, so whoo, doggy.
Who needs PAH-43s when you have German 105mm naval gun?
Yeah, you're right, that is a naval gun, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe that's I'm fairly certain that's what they use as, like, the heavy anti-aircraft defense on the few ships the German Kriegsmarine had.
Their dinghies.
And also, I believe, as, like, static defense, like, town areas, whatnot.
Well, he's picked off 3 kills quick as you please, so kind of hard to argue with the results at that point. the 105s back on this hilltop are quite suppressed. And the Italian 100 guns are going to start going after this long tom in the central northern position. Not going to see the one in the center, not going to see the one in the south. Heck, not even going to see both of them in the north. But I am going to see that those long toms mean a whole heck of a lot to the Americans. You got to keep these guys in play.
Yeah, that's just a crazy amount of fire support they do provide, and yeah, we're just going to start seeing, I think, counter-artillery battery wars back and forth as these long toms and 100 mils do trade back and forth. Which is so weird on the 1v1 to see, especially after all our time cast in Red Storm the past few weeks where you don't see on-map artillery.
Of course, the Italians, being Italian, had decided to give their opponents some warning shots first, firing deliberately too long and deliberately too short. There we go. There we go. Northern side Stroke is going to go and just continue to pound on this Bofors. Probably the right call to be aggressive, try to make sure you can get rid of some of the anti-aircraft net so you can kind of continue to play to your strengths.
Yeah, I do want to note one of the new units up north, the Maros, which is 12 Italians with submachine guns, but they're Italian submachine guns, which means they do have a 50-meter extra range. So they're pretty much like super Avtomachikis.
Certainly true. I mean, yeah, the Maros are those guys actually are quite scary.
Yeah, they're really not anything you do want to mess about with, but you do have rather limited availability of them.
Well, and then we're going to see one more of these as well. Basically, the MG-099s, the Grens.
Yeah.
So this is a C-Faith card over here. So there's a 27 to them, guys. Not quite Airsatch trooping. I would not argue that they're too far removed, but that's just, the inner cynic in me talking.
Yeah, with that,
the Breda.
rather awful Italian Breda machine gun, so good luck with that, guys.
But all the same, Tosdi is up on a 15-9. I think a big portion of that is because of that infantry play that we've seen earlier. So when you can lose two guys to the opponent's one and still come out ahead, we're definitely seeing the kind of action of that, the result of that coming out right now.
I always find this map rather surprising, because every time we're about to cast it, see it, play it, etc., I always think, oh, this is purely a tank map. It's all about open field, heavy tank firepower, all of that's good stuff. But time and time again, every time we cast it, it always feels like it becomes a very infantry-focused map. Because even though the towns are surrounded by huge open fields, you do need infantry at the end of the day to secure those positions. And really, a lot of the flags in this map are positioned where you need infantry.
That's true. I mean, heck, even go a little bit further than that as well. We see the result of tanks moving across open ground and how they get butchered. Just saw a pair of Shermans just to the south of that town come forward and then get smoked by 24 rockets. That left both of them as burning hulks. So, say what you want to. The maneuver is good. Infantry is still better.
Yeah.
Was watching a bit of a belated push. Stroke did go down to the north. Didn't see to what. I was too busy kind of scampering back and forth between the two fronts of action. And we've seen the MG-099s trying to hold up against these engineers, but they are exactly what they need to be, which is just meat shields, just buying time, I feel like, until Tosdi can get other material in there more effectively.
Indeed, and he still has the Maros and the Kriegsmarine submarine troops to back him up, and I believe those Maros would make pretty short work of those engineers once they do get close. We do have that one Sherman, of course, which is in a pretty good position to shot down the northern play, but down south of the Marder and the two Italian elephant guns is going to limit their maneuver quite a bit.
It certainly does seem to be that case. A float plane coming in with a deadly 100 kilograms of bombs, doesn't deliver them. I think he was just trying to get that half track to go down. Don't think it's going to occur.
And the second one does get the off-map off at least. Not going to be hitting a whole lot, but I guess he just wants to clear out whatever's there before during the first show. Just one infantry or two infantry squads and a single Sherman.
Does seem to be the case. Sharpshoots over here, I'm not going to say they're going to do a whole lot, but I do like the area denial that the sharpshooters actually do bring.
Yeah, and they're nice and cheap, where you can maneuver them across open fields, because they're also very sneaky, just to try to get into good sneaky positions behind enemy lines. Not really for sniping, but more just for spotting purposes.
I forgot, one of those off-maps is a completely different caliber. Like, 2.5 times the amount of the first one.
Yep. A lot of big kabooms, but not enough to force... Oh, there's still more kabooms to come.
Oh, there still might be more, and I think the big thing here is, though, he's just trying to get troops close enough to at least unmask the vehicle positions so he can hop on forwards with the anti-tank grenades.
Yeah, it's really just coming down to the infantry play, and I'm thinking at this point, Tosdi Part 2 must be running out. I mean, he's starting to throw in flamethrower troops and some of the engineers which he has, because he's lost a lot of those armored rifles throughout this match.
He certainly has. And we're seeing just constant airstrikes from Focke-Wulfs now that just seem to have no fear. I mean, he's even rocketing his own troops. Not quite sure about the wisdom of that one, but no fear anymore. It's just constant strafing, constant bombing runs. If you look into the south, yes, there still are Bofors everywhere. In fact, there are only 6 in the deck, but it seems that they've been constantly chattering since they've come on the field.
Yeah, they're definitely good anti-aircraft pieces to have, just usually a general purpose. And also, you know, there's not a whole lot of armor I have to worry about, so they're actually pretty good infantry fire support.
You do speak the true. I would love to see these pioneers in the central town move south, maybe along the outside of that town, and potentially pick up that command Sherman with the P-Shrek, and we're seeing something. He's going to move forward a little bit. Hopping from house to house. Scampering forward. It's going to be a kill here. It's up. It's good.
Woo! Yeah, one Sherman is really just retarding back at entire push for the time being.
And for the time being, I think it's kind of the major thrust here, isn't it? All of the Italian guns got counter-batteried, and wait, let's take how many long toms? 1, 2, 3, 4. So, not really a whole lot changing over here on the American side, and then again, I think you have to love those pack howitzers.
Yeah, they're pretty damn good. And Part 2 still managing to control the 7 pound, which is definitely pretty nice. That's at least one flag he doesn't have to worry about for the time being, as Tosdi isn't gearing up to do any offensive maneuvers yet. And he's still holding on to that one flag in the center for the time being. Briefly for the time being, as the Kriegsmarine troops come in to finish up the job.
Yes, they do. And that's going to kick off a lot more territory being lost. I'm wondering if this Kriegsmarine troop behind the front lines, he's trying to find, I think, that Bofors. I don't think he's going to kill him. But yeah, he's throwing down on him. This was the supremely necessary thing. He's going to sacrifice them to at least get eyes on.
And with that fanatical trait, they're not going to fall back, but... Well,
unless ordered.
Unless ordered. You're allowed to fall back now.
But the town is squarely in German hands, and, you know, we do have that Zis, we have a captured Zis, I think. No. Yeah, it's still a captured Zis. I keep going back and forth in that. The 76-2.
Yeah, or is it
Zis
the
2?
one far down south?
No, either or, it's this, they're both still just Zis 2s. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's that's not technically a Zis 3 gun, it's actually an F-22 gun, which is very, very similar to a Zis 3 gun.
The more you know.
Yeah. It's like same caliber gun and everything. I believe the F-22 is like a slightly older model. Is an older model, and more reserved for artillery rather than anti-tank use, but I leave it to whoever in the comments wants to tackle that.
Well, it has been a while since we've had a Rooster lecture, so I'd love to hear from him on that one. And I mean that sincerely. Or, heck, anybody out there who has any kind of knowledge about this. Kriegsmarine infantry gonna go and toss out a grenade? No! They decided that discretion is a better part of valor, despite the fact that he could be killing 3 squads of whatever's going to eventually kill his own allies here, so...
Yeah, just seeing the last push here of flamethrower troops to try and secure that town. Tosdi gonna counter-attack up north with a bunch of infantry across the open because there's nothing to stop him. There's really no armored units. This is for PAH2 being a armored division. We haven't really seen that much armor.
No, but we have seen him just shell his own troops. Like the flamethrower squads you just sent in.
Yeah.
He literally just pounded them into dust. It was like watching... I don't even know how to describe it. It was awful.
Maybe he wants the flamethrower troops to get close so he can hit it with the artillery shelf, so the dude with the flamethrower tank blew up in front of the German.
I'm pretty sure we're not playing that kind of game here, but hey, man, if you're a psycho and you're looking for someone to gunzerk against, I guess that works. More squad engineers, yeah, he's got to be running dry. And he's got to know that these scratch defenses are not going to be able to hold things back. He's getting kicked in the teeth constantly, which is kind of funny, because, I mean, if you look at Toulon over here as just on the merits of its own division, not a super strong division from a vehicle sense. I feel like there's such a huge missed opportunity here.
Yeah. It really does feel like, I mean, Tosdi has managed to really take advantage of his infantry in this match, that's for damn sure. I mean, it's a very good infantry tab, to be fair. I mean, the Marrows, the Brandenburgs, the Kriegsmarine are all fantastic, as well as having lots of nice cheap troops that you can throw into the fray as well.
But all the same. And we got, geez, we're going to see the MG 099 Grens slowly take out a half-track. And yeah, when those guys are taking the half-tracks, it's like when Airsat's trooping are actually taking the front line and holding it. And it's a 19-5 now, so yes, he's definitely tapped into infantry. All we have left is the M10s being brought on in, and the long times desperately trying to just kind of shell every single side of the map. Well done over here to Tosdi, and kind of a nice opener, I would say, to Defense Group Toulon.
Yeah, I hope we see more of him in the future, especially in the upcoming Steel Division League, which should be happening pretty soon, I believe, like in a week or two.
Yeah, actually, I'm kind of really gratified to see that. I think they're expanding into a 5th division now, which is crazy to me. That's so fantastic. I remember the first season, if I think it was 2 divisions, you know, oldies and newbies. So I'm, again, always gratified to see more players join this. I know this game has its problems, and it definitely has its detractors, but I love seeing this from all you guys. I mean, Tosdi and PAH2, I think, are both new players to our channels here, so this is fantastic.
Yeah, but the match will be finishing off in just a few seconds here. Just the horde of infantry taking huge amounts of territory.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why you have a seed card with 27 guys on it. So you can drive all of your allied division friends nuts. And GG indeed. Surprisingly, only a 700 point kill difference. I expected more.
Yeah. Yeah, same here. Yeah, looking at kills. Meh. Nothing pops out for the Americans.
Walker, though, this guy was the one that was down in that town. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 light vehicles, a couple of infantry kills built on there. Heck, Zwack over here picking up 4 vehicle kills. Coastal Guns got, you know, did some great suppression. Frankly, looking at... Ooh, Frischmann did pretty well. Oh, Frischmann was... Okay. Yeah, Frischmann was the guy who killed the P-51 with 1 shot, took out the Jumbo with the next one, the Command Sherman with 2 more. The air power, really, really well done. Both the artillery tab air power and otherwise. Wolfgang, oh my gosh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 vehicles, a couple of infantry. But, you know, when I saw the divisions at play here, I was freaking out. I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a raffle stump. No.
Yeah, I felt like, I mean, 30 US Armored has always been a very strong division in ST2, and they usually win a lot of their matches, as they're just pretty damn powerful. But, yeah, really good player from from the Toulon.
Indeed it was. Indeed it was. Any final thoughts, though, sir?
None. Zero. Nada.
Bupkis. 9.
Bugger
Bugger in a suitably UKF way. Folks, I think that's going to do it for us tonight. As always, thanks so much for checking out the channels. I love having you guys here with us. Until next week, though, I'm Conolwork.
I'm Rangru. Take it easy.